Alright, hey guys, been a little while since I did a toilet video. Really hadn't had much going on, but I did do this the other day, and I thought I would do a film quick video of this here with my 67 Luxor Vent-Away toilet. American Standard, a low boy. So I was at Habitat, and I happened to be looking around, and on the shelf they had a fill valve. I noticed it was a brass one in a package. It was only 10 bucks. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. I'm grabbing that thing because these are hard to come by. That is a brand new old stock brass fill valve for, normal toilets, two-piece mostly. But of course I've modified it to make it work in the lowboy. The reason is this has that little brass tube that comes down right there. That's what fills up the tank. Come on, camera. This camera's not going to cooperate today, is it? So what I did, I took a piece of shower hose down there and I clamped it onto this tube. I had to cut the tube in half because it was pretty long and it almost the hose was wanting to kink at the bottom of the tank. So I cut it in half. This does thread out of there. That copper tube will come out of there. It threads in there, so you can unscrew it too. So I cut that in half and I clamped on that hose and I brought it up here to the vacuum breaker, which is also known as an anti-siphon. It keeps water from being pulled out of the tank back into the water supply. And that's real important with this particular type of brass valve. This is old style valve, and they don't have any anti-siphon or vacuum breaker on it. So what would happen is that tube course went all the way almost to the bottom of the tank. So what would happen if the water supply dropped in pressure, or if there was a water main break in the city and you lost water pressure, and for whatever reason, if your flush valve flapper was leaking or something and the water would start to get low in the tank, if the float would drown, that valve will open and it would suck the water out of the tank back into the water supply line, and it actually can cross-contaminate. So that's why they went to anti-siphon with a lot of this stuff, so that old water or whatever can't be pulled into the city water supply or even your house water supply. So that's the reason for that. So now that I'm using that valve, I hooked up this vacuum breaker again so it works. So I ran that tube up to here. I didn't have a 90-degree elbow, so I used a T and just plugged off one end of it. So now all of the water that comes in the valve goes through this vacuum breaker except for the bowl fill, which I don't need that bowl fill because there's one here. And I wasn't thinking about that. I should have had that on video. When I first turned the water on, I had this one hooked up down there to this manifold for the bowl fill. I forgot about that one, and I had water spraying everywhere. And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot that's got a bowl rinse or bowl fill on it already. So I ran that one to the manifold, which fills the rim. And I just used this one to just throw the extra water in the tank because there's a lot of water pressure now. This brass valve cuts off almost all the water pressure that comes in, goes into the tank. That's like double the amount of pressure that any of those plastic valves I had in here ever put out. So it's very impressive. It's got a lot of water pressure. So now this works right, and now I have water through the diverter. So that's much better, and it was only for a $10 brass valve. So you can't beat that, guys. So now the Luxor is pretty well working the way it should, except for the Vent-Away stuff, which that never really worked right. Let's do a quick flush. I threw some paper in it. And here we go. It's quiet except for all that water spraying in the tank from that little tube. But not bad. Got more water coming in the rim. So the rim rinse is working. See quite a bit of water, and that's how that's working. That's the reason. Look at all that water pressure. There's just about as much of that going through that tube to the manifold to fill the rim rinse. So there you have it, guys. Not a bad setup. Little modifications and you're good to go. So there you have it, guys. I thought I would share that. Thanks for watching.